Welcome to the Pipeline award-winning show. As always, I am your host, Jason Gibbs. You can find me on X at Pipeline _. You can find me coming through your screen right now. Week 9 college football preview. We got him, the man, the myth, the legend, Roy. Big games this week, as always. I know we had some technical difficulties last week, unable to. And, of course, the studio is still in flux. We got to build that studio, get the lighting right, get everything right. I think I'm filming with a gently used potato right now, but we're gonna get having. Here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it like the American dream. We're gonna bet our way out of this fiasco.
Ooh,
I think I'm out of the Airbnb janitorial services, so I'm back to sea level. But can we get higher? We'll have to see. Where do we want to start this week? We want to start at big noon, UCLA at Indiana. I think 2-3 weeks ago, we would have laughed this game off. I know the spread's still approaching 4 touchdowns, minus 25.5. However, I'm not going to say it's an absolute slam dunk. I think the models give UCLA a 7% chance, and that seems maybe a little low, oddly enough. I do think Indiana handles business at home, but this might be the story of the year if UCLA wins this game.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we are living in a world right now where UCLA is one game out of the top of the Big Ten. So
beating Indiana, they'd both then be 4-1. So
they'd both be 4-1 with Ohio State
and they'd have the tiebreak,
undefeated.
Right?
And so then it would be a potential Big Ten championship could be looming between UCLA and Northwestern. And who could have saw that happening?
We can dream,
Late October, we still have a potential for Northwestern versus UCLA Big Ten championship. But in all seriousness, of course, this is kind of that moment. UCLA is not going to sneak up on anybody now. So everybody's pretty keen on what they've changed and what they need to do. And there's now film on their new coaching staff, the play calling and the cadences and all that fun stuff. The probably, kind of piggybacking off of this preview, I do want to allude to the most disappointing team for me is Maryland. I mean, these guys are in every game. And last week against UCLA, no different.
Yeah.
And still find a way
not just
to lose.
In every game, they're winning these games. What were they up on? Weren't they up 20-0 on Washington or something? 20-3.
20-0 on Washington. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have held the lead against Washington, Nebraska, and UCLA. It just cannot get it, close the door. So that was, Maryland was like my little dark horse this year. And unfortunately, they cover. They do cover.
Meaning they're a great team. So how about this? How about we file this episode right here, put a little pin in it, put a little bookmark on it. Make sure you subscribe, by the way. That's the only way you're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But put a little pin on it. Maryland's next year's team. We said it here.
Right.
Week 9 college football Pipeline award-winning show preview. Maryland is next year's team. We'll get to it next year.
That perfect.
Maybe the game. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. 25.5 on this Indiana UCLA game.
Yeah.
That's a bit much, right?
It seems a bit much, but it just, I don't see the public backing UCLA, even though they are the kind of feel-good story. Our guy, Nico Suave, has been playing well. I mean, look, we're in October. We need to be talking about zombies. We should do our zombie picks.
Yeah,
Nico Iamaleava would absolutely be zombie Heisman of the year right now because we thought he was basically going to be out of football in a few more snaps, and now he's come roaring back. I guess it was the change. I'm not sure if everything was that, but man, he's put it together. He's looked good. This would be the mother of all feather in your caps, pulling out at Indiana, the number 2 team in the country. But yes, it does seem like a lot of points. And who does Indiana have next week? Is that
I can tell you. One moment,
Yeah, I
please.
can't.
Ah, okay. Oh, here we go. Indiana. Oh, didn't give me the deal. All right, 2 more seconds. Switching apps. We're
This is the
grossly
first time
prepared
you've
for
ever
this.
used a computer.
Shh. I think you're on the same computer. You know, they have a trap game next week at Maryland.
We just mentioned it. Is Maryland's next year team this year? Is their
Could
this year
be.
team next year?
Could
Well,
Maryland be the new UCLA?
is is Maryland the new Maryland? People
Right.
are asking.
So, going back to the betting stats of this game, we've got 24 and a half. 44% of the betting public is on Indiana.
Mm,
56% on UCLA, but here's your stat of the day.
okay.
96% of the money on Indiana. So
Okay,
less
so
less
Indiana by
bets.
35.
There you go.
Yeah, see, anytime you get kind of a feel-good story, I don't know. I thought maybe it would wear off, but it's not. They think it's too much. It's kind of in that in between 24, 28, the normal range. So I'm thinking Indiana by 31, 35.
West
Sounds like a
Coast
good bet.
team, still
Oh,
West
coming
Coast
east,
team coming in
noon,
east.
9 o'clock kickoff, body time.
Yeah,
It all adds up to a Hoosier blowout.
I
I'm
I
going to take them.
agree.
I'm going to take Hoosiers by 31. Look, we're gonna make enough money this week to come all the way back and to get the cinnamon salad trimmed. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll have to see. It's getting out of control. We need
you
some
could go
winners
the
so I can
braid
afford a
route
hair.
eventually.
I
Just
could
do
go
some
what now?
cornrows. Cornrows.
Okay, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Red cornrows. I love it. Possibly a tie for game of the day. Ole Miss at Oklahoma. Kind of surprising. OU minus 5.5,
Mhm.
especially because John Mateer, after coming back from the injury, has played so. They were fine last week versus South Carolina, but I think everybody's fine lately when they play South Carolina. He did not look good in the Red River Shootout, and I know that was his first week back, so maybe there was a little bit of rust. Ole Miss and Georgia last week, just absolute fire fest, just
Yeah,
incredible
fantastic.
game. And one of the most impressive things to me about this game, that game, Roy, we'll talk about that game for a second so we can get into this game, was Trinidad Chambliss. You know, everybody knows his story at this point. He was a Division II player. He came up. He was back up to Austin Simmons. Now he's in the starting spotlight. We're going to go down to Sanford Stadium, or I guess up in their case, Sanford Stadium. 93,000 fans. I had a lot of Georgia accounts say that was possibly the loudest Sanford had ever been. So that's saying something because they've had some absolute epic games there
Mhm.
before. He was totally unfazed
Unbelievable.
for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah,
And then it was like as the fourth quarter wore on, it almost like the light bulb went off and it dawned on him like, hey, this is a huge moment. And
yeah.
I think the moment got too big for him. Can he
I,
take that lesson into Boomer Sooner Stadium, Memorial Stadium, obviously in Norman, Boomer Sooner Country, I should say, and use that to propel Ole Miss past Oklahoma? I kind of like the getting the points here. I feel like last week maybe he grew up a little bit.
mhm.
I guess we'll see. I was just like I said, I was a little surprised that the line was this high. I thought Oklahoma would be favored, especially being at home, and they play well at home. But Ole Miss here really has something to prove, especially coming off of last week. Because if they lose this game, then we're kind of starting to see a trend with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. With we kind of get off to the fast starts and then we kind of stumble down the stretch.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Ole Miss in this matchup, which it is attractive with the points. But one thing I do like about Ole Miss is, like you just said, Trinidad James came out. I mean, that was impressive. that first half was beautiful. I mean, Georgia did not get them to punt the ball until I believe third
Yeah.
quarter, late third quarter, and they started sputtering on offense a bit. And Georgia did their adjustments as they would, but he, obviously Ole Miss was never out of the game. They just kind of couldn't end up. Their defense actually ended up wearing down at the end, where Georgia was able to kind of grind them out and get those kind of big chunk yards on the ground. And with that all being said, Oklahoma's run defense is in for a challenge this week.
With
Lacey,
Lacey.
yeah, Lacey. I think Ole Miss did a poor job of not relying more on him. On late in that game on Saturday, I think there was a bit too many like kind of misdirections and all this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if you just go 3 yards in a cloud of dust with Lacey, you
Pat on
probably
the
pick up
hat.
a few,
Yep.
yeah, pick up a few more first downs, kind of grind that clock, continue to build that pressure up on anyone who's rooting for Georgia to cover. And so you had this perfect storm that Lane Kiffin just couldn't handle. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, Kiffin's an amazing coach. Some chatter out here about the Florida job, and is that chirping in his?
I think that would be my one concern, because we
Yeah,
obviously don't know what goes on behind the scenes. There's 0% chance that at least representatives haven't been in contact, just to
yeah,
get a feeler for him, because I think if you're Florida, he's your number one guy. I don't
yes,
know. I mean, I know I've heard James Franklin, but j- Lane Kiffin is the guy.
yeah. If you
I
can get
mean,
Kiffin, yeah,
you might not get him, but he has to be your number one priority. I'm going to
yeah,
give the full court press, throw the kitchen sink at him. If those conversations have got back to him,
hmm
is he 100% focused? I'm gonna tentatively say yes. I'm not gonna bet the house on it, but I'm gonna go Ole Miss plus 5.5, thinking that the best thing he can do is keep Ole Miss ranked in that top 10, keep them ready to go. Because, like I said, we don't want to start the free fall if you're Ole Miss. And if you're Oklahoma, you're 2-1 in the SEC. Your loss being obviously the aforementioned Red River Shootout. You don't want to drop to 2-2. Really big game, and we'll talk about some of the other games, but did CBS make the worst decision? Maybe not in television history, maybe in entertainment history,
yeah,
because now ESPN has been writing this SEC all day, and I mean, look, ESPN takes their knocks, and a lot of it deservedly so. But that's amazing, SEC all day, and then just three normally huge matchups just throughout the day, and it's really great to watch. You can get a casual fan just click on the
yeah,
channel and just stay on the same channel, and you're just gonna get matchup after matchup after matchup.
yeah. Just bangers, bangers. I
And
mean,
then meanwhile, CBS is playing the 5th place Big Ten with the 8th place. But it's just like, my guy, it might be the worst decision in entertainment history. But moving right along, we'll do one more noon game, and this had the potential to be even bigger than it is. And of course, I'm talking about South Florida at Memphis. Memphis falling
yeah,
asleep at the wheel, probably looking ahead this game last week, and then they stumbled. South Florida 3-0 in the Americans, 6-1. Their only loss, a handy loss to Miami. And we mentioned this the last time we did the pod when we talked about them playing North Texas. They're at this point a battle-tested team,
yeah,
and they're not going to be. They went into that North Texas game is basically the biggest game in Texas history. Possibly, it was definitely the biggest crowd, and at least the biggest game in quite some time. I'd have to maybe consult the history books. Absolutely obliterated them. It was just
yeah,
the game was over the second they got off the bus. USF just under a touchdown here. I know people might be looking Memphis, but I just to see what Brown has done at quarterback for the Bulls, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, almost 1,700 yards. I like laying the points here, even on the road. You know me, I'm a contrarian bettor, but I just like the way South Florida has gone about this year. Like I said, the one hiccup when they played Miami, they did get beat pretty badly, but I'm going Bulls here.
You could argue the Miami game schedule wise was probably really tough for South Florida. They had emotional game. Obviously, any opener is emotional. You had Boise State, then you go
Hmm.
to the Swamp, you beat
Yep.
Florida. Um, Frankly, on a kind of a just slug 'em, ground it out
Hmm.
type
Rock
game,
fight. Yep.
sloppy, just not very attractive, but it is what it is. And then you then have to go to Miami.
Mm.
Um, so to me, if they win that game, they're the number one team in the country. If they lose that game the way they did, you're kind of like, okay, well, they're coming back to earth.
Yeah.
So for them to then respond and prove that this was just kind of a bad game, and now has put together, like you said, they've battle tested and put together some quality wins. I mean, that Florida game, at the time was obviously massive, and then it was like, Florida's not very good. Well, then Florida's kind of turning it up just a hair, so
Hmm.
not too bad. Um, but at
I
Memphis,
mean,
right?
think about this. You know, they're going into Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium in Memphis. It's a
Mhm.
noon game. That's not going to be tougher than the Swamp at night.
No,
So
no, and
they're not going to be phased by the fact that it's a road game at all. I know
and
Memphis licking their wounds because they were undefeated in the American and they lost. As I mentioned, they slipped up last week. They could slip away right here, 2-2 in the American with some good teams in that conference. USF
yeah,
has a chance to go 4-0. I
yeah.
like it.
I like USF. Covering the six, I could see some shenanigans where maybe they're up a couple scores,
Hmm.
and then you get kind of a last second touchdown to break people's
I
hearts.
like to call that the Rosier.
Oh, I like that. It's very very scary Terry of you. You know, I saw a tweet today on that topic that I have to share. It said, my son walked in with his scary Terry jersey just in tears, wondering that he'll never be able to watch him play again. He's 33 years old and he hasn't had a job in 3 years.
Did college game? I think Nate Bargatze's the guest
Yeah,
picker.
guess picking for
Did they miss an opportunity here to go with Chauncey Billups? People are asking. The streets are asking,
the
but
streets are asking. Yeah. I did enjoy them breaking that story this morning and then realizing they have ESPN bet at the bottom
and
and
then
then
they
had to
drop
fade it out.
to
Yeah.
drop the sponsor. Nothing to see here. Please disperse.
See, to me, I lean into that. I would lean into it and be like, here's
You
our
got it
unders parlay for player props and just like never mention the scandal, but hint around it,
right.
you know? Just like,
You could. I feel like they should have gone over under on number of arrests. Set it at 3.5. See who wants to take the action.
well, there's so many
Um,
stories. I mean, there's so many cases with this. We can go all around, but
yeah.
how about the poor
I mean,
timing
I will
college
say this.
sports thing they can
Right.
bet on pro sports?
I do. Yeah, because I'm thinking about that. I do wonder if, because like this is obviously a guy, you're talking about Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, who are multi millionaires, and they're still doing these things. I really worry about a college guy who's maybe got nothing, maybe some NIL money, maybe a few $1,000s, whatever. Even if it's somebody big, like a I'm not saying he's involved, but like a Bryce Underwood, who's obviously multi millions for his NIL deal. Could these guys be swayed? I hope not. I know basketball is a little bit different than football. Basketball is a little bit easier, just less moving pieces, less moving parts. But we won't dwell
Well,
on it. But I just hope college sports and namely college football can kind of remain untouched.
yeah, I mean, as the story develops and you dig deeper, I don't see it much of like a the fix is in kind of thing on the games. I think it was more so participation was not was it's kind of like a little bit of insider trading, if you will, that bet the
Yeah.
Lakers tonight because Portland's going to sit all of their guys, right?
Right.
Kind of deal where it's not his
Mm,
decision maybe to sit all the guys, but he knows, these guys are banged up more so than not. So they're on a back to back, or, they,
mhm.
you know, had a little bit too much sweets the night before. So, um, they, yeah, I mean, but the kind of segueing into the game day game, you've got Missouri at Vanderbilt. I mean,
Vandy, a
should this have
top
been,
10 team.
yeah,
Just a amazing story. Talking about their coach, was it a couple years ago? Said he was going to make Vandy basically like an SEC power. He got laughed at SEC media days, and he's done it because we're literally talking, Roy, about a couple of red zone turnovers. I'm not dismissing those. Of course, those count, but we're possibly talking about if they clean those up, them beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa,
well,
and they'd
yeah,
be
you're,
undefeated. They'd probably be the number one team. Well, maybe not number one team. They'd be in the top two or three. But
yeah,
they
they'd
did
probably
lose
be
that
right under
game.
Texas A&M. Yeah.
Yeah, they did lose that game. So, but they're still a top 10 team. 2.5 point spreads. I love kind of friends of the program, college football nerds were doing a couple of breakdowns on how experienced quarterback and basically how the changing in the timing of the games, how the clock doesn't stop as much, and how you get fewer possessions. I
Mhm.
even think some of that is with analytics, people going for it on fourth down far more than they have in the past, and kind of shortening the game. If you even think about the aforementioned Georgia Ole Miss game, Georgia was scoring basically every single time
Yeah.
down the field. They were basically almost all touchdowns. There was a few field goals, and it was still only like 40 something points. So Vandy, a good team in that area, Diego Pavia, with his legs can extend the plays. The way they're kind of running those some of those runs, and I know Missouri has Ahmad Hardy, who's 840 yards, 11 touchdowns. But look at the under here, 53 and a half total. I could see this kind of getting into a just control the clock, slow the game down a little bit, and Vandy maybe coming away with a win. I know Missouri's looked a little. I was higher on Missouri a couple weeks ago. They've looked a little shakier as time gone on. As time's gone on, they got beat by Alabama. I think we talked about it. That moment was a little bit too big for
Hmm.
Bo Prabula. It appeared that way anyway, and they really shouldn't have beaten Auburn last week. So Vandy here, I think I would go with the 2.5, but I actually like that under total a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, emotional win last week for Vandy, so you've got that lingering. Then, like you
Mm,
just said, with Auburn, the Auburn Missouri game should an emotional win there, right? I mean,
yeah.
Auburn has is the Maryland of the SEC, and they just are in every game and can't quite close it out. So the the interesting thing to me here is how this is essentially an SEC championship elimination game, if you will. I mean, these are
Mm.
all long shots to get there, but you can't have two SEC
Yeah, you
losses
lose this one, it's over.
with
Yeah.
this. And a similar thing can be said with Mississippi, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
So
Mm.
you've got this kind of brackety tournament style, and so what you said about the under of like grinding it out and kind of playing as if it's an elimination type game, you could see that start to take shape. And back to your point about the evolution of offenses in college football, it's really you're it's ex- I am a believer that it is this more open desire to go for it on fourth down, which then leads to more manageable third down plays, right? And so
Mm.
you do run the ball, you do do a quick slant that can get
Interesting.
4 yards, that can break it to get the first down with the idea that you're going to go for it on fourth down. So I think as the game has evolved, it's now, now you only need 3 yards of play rather than 4 yards of play. So
Okay.
you can have these kind of, and I think some defensive coordinators have adapted to that and some haven't.
Mm,
Um, and I would argue your team like Georgia is a pretty cool example of that in the last big games that they've played from Alabama to Ole Miss, where they just look lost, if you will, that they're
mm,
like not understanding that, and then they start pressing up, and then they go over the top on them
right.
with the go routes, but then the defense adjusts, right, understanding that the 3 yard play is probably more likely to happen on third down rather than the 8 yard play.
Mm,
So, to me, that what these two teams kind of, you know, if you're gonna kind of do the poster child of the next generation of play callers, college football play callers and teams, you have Missouri, you have Vanderbilt, you have Indiana, and so all kind of have that similar go for it on fourth down nature, spread it out, run the ball, grind it out kind of deal.
mm,
Control the tempo, but not to like breakneck speed of Texas Tech where your defense is dead. Um, so
yeah. Or maybe those Oregon teams from a few years ago, Chip Kelly, with the blur offense.
yeah, which they've adjusted as well. I mean, they've kind of grounded it out, not to switch
Yeah.
games.
I mean, what I never thought about what you said because I was just kind of thinking of the analytics of just strictly as a fourth down call, but it really is a third and fourth down call.
Hmm.
That's a very salient point. It kind of harkens back to what was it the Super Bowl was the Chiefs and the 49ers when they went to overtime.
Yeah,
And I remember I think it was the 49ers won the coin flip and they chose
yeah,
to receive. Was
yeah.
that what it was?
And a kick.
Or chose to kick?
Yeah, just
No,
chose to
no, they
kick
chose
because
to,
then the Chiefs were able to get if they scored a touchdown, they won.
no, I don't think that's true. I think it
That's-
was they got the ball second. The Chiefs got the ball second because I remember people
Oh,
saying,
that's right. That's right. Because
yeah, yeah,
then they knew
because I
what
remember,
they had to get done. Yes.
right, right, and because that's what made me think of. I remember people saying, you're giving Patrick Mahomes 4 downs,
Right.
whereas
Right.
if they don't, they would probably wouldn't be going for. They wouldn't have to go for it. Like they had to go
Right.
for it on fourth down because the game was going to be over if they didn't. They
Yeah.
weren't going to punt it and the game over. But it brings me back to this point where if you're thinking in terms of 4 downs, you're planning and scheduling differently.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm gonna tweet that out, steal your idea and tweet it out. So
That's fine. That's free one.
take full credit. We're one team. We're one team. We're one company. Um, you want to talk about your Fighting Mormons 3:30 at ISU at Iowa State -2.5. Little
You know,
dicey here. I
I,
think this is kind of a surprising line to the average person thinking about Iowa State already losing twice. Didn't look great even when they won the Cy-Hawk Trophy versus Iowa. And BYU right on the edge of top 10, undefeated, and they're underdog on the road.
so back to back games as an underdog for BYU in hostile territory.
Mm.
Obviously, last week was a rivalry game.
Mm-hmm.
Winning that game at Utah is emotional. Then having to turn around and go to Iowa State on a
I thought it was at
sneaky.
BYU though, no?
I thought it was a Utah, wasn't it? It may have been in. No, it was. It was a home game for BYU. I
Yeah,
apologize.
yeah.
Yeah, but
But no, to your point, definitely hostile, definitely a hated
hot.
holy war.
Yeah,
We always call it the correct name. The holy war, literally having fans threatening each other to kill each other.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
The Mormon
emotions are running
principles.
high.
So you win a
And
24-21. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
an emotional game. Are you drained? Now you go on the road. Is there a letdown? All things to think about here.
These are the games that keep Matt Campbell hired. It's like randomly just has these games. It's like you forget about him. Like you just forget that he's a coach and that people like him. And then all of a sudden he wins these games. You're like, oh, that guy again. Okay, I get it. It's
Thought he died 3 years ago.
exactly. So, would not be surprised if the Fighting Mormons slip up this week. If they do win this game, though, frankly, if
Mm,
they do win this game, um, that's 8-0. I mean, you're starting to look at they are getting a nice stranglehold on the Big 12. People are starting to look, you know, maybe thinking little Mormon playoff action,
mm-mm.
some home game stuff.
The
Um,
ghosts of Steve Young and Jim McMahon. Watch out.
yeah, I mean, the Big 12 is very competitive. I think it's a fun conference. With Cincinnati, Arizona State, Texas Tech, of course, slipped up last week, but Utah and these Iowa State and even TCU
Mm-hmm.
battle tested, and um, Arizona, the Maryland of the Big 12, they just can't quite close the door on
Wait a
their
minute.
games as well. So the
Who was it? Auburn was the the
yes,
Maryland, the SEC.
Auburn
So
was the Maryland.
Arizona is the Auburn of the Big 12. Okay.
Yes, there you
We're
go.
gonna
Yes,
we're gonna get the
I'm
full
gonna keep
circle at
going.
some point.
All right,
The
but
circle of life.
to me, I think you go like I said. I think this is the Matt Campbell game where you're just like, oh yeah, that guy. So I
Yeah.
think they pull it off, and
The
BYU.
Matt
Like,
Campbell stays hired game. I love it. ISU -2.5, going all in.
yeah, I like it. I mean,
Matt Campbell, the zombie coach of the year.
yeah. I mean, he always beats Iowa on like a missed field goal, like every time,
Right.
and then they trip up some games, so you forget about them, and then like 4 weeks later, they beat a top team, and you're like, oh, that guy.
Oh yeah,
It's like
exactly.
consistent. I mean,
Listen,
consistency.
I don't want to, we don't want to break this game down because I think this is an obvious victory. But I'm going to talk because I tweeted this out, which make sure you follow me at Pipeline underscore. Do it on Twitter, on X, whatever. I just want to quickly talk about it because like I said, I tweeted this out earlier in the week. The Oklahoma State Texas Tech game. So Texas Tech -38.5 is actually down to 37.5, but it opened at -38.5. Roy, I went back and looked at games just this year, just to give a kind of sense of where Oklahoma State is now. A once proud program
Very
before
much so.
Mike Gundy died, before Mike
Yeah.
Gundy passed away. And I have it right here. These are other games this year that have had 38.5 point spreads. I want you to listen to the disparity in these teams, and that's what you're getting here with a conference game involving Oklahoma State. Iowa versus Albany, 38 and a
Okay.
half. Georgia versus Marshall.
Mm.
Alabama versus Louisiana Monroe.
Oof.
38.5 point spreads this year, and that's what Oklahoma is. Very sad. It really is a shame. And like I said, we're not going to spend too much time on this game, but it really is a shame that T. Boone Pickens passed away before the NIL era because I really think this would have been their time to shine. Because think about it, isn't Texas Tech have like a $28 million roster or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
They have a big roster funded by a billionaire. This would have been Oklahoma State's bag. This would have been their
Yeah.
gig, and oh, just a shame. Really feel really bad for uh, Okie State fans, but
To me, this is where you could crowdsource, maybe go the Kickstarter route and see if you can get that NIL money going for Oklahoma State. Well, if you think about it, you're a big enough donor here, and you are going in the Big 12. It's not like you're in the SEC
mhm,
battle and stuff. So you got a shot here to really turn it around, like kind of Texas Tech did. But to the point of the game, I mean, you know,
yeah,
I feel like Vegas is just looking at it and they're like, it's Oklahoma State. It's 40. And so they're just going from the spread from 40 and then going
right,
down. And
yeah,
it's unfortunate because, to me, I was like Oklahoma State being relevant.
yeah.
Um, they provide a fun spark and they were always a good team to follow, but I was a sucker for their jerseys. I like the black and orange.
Yeah, good stuff. Good
They
stuff.
they
But
it's sad. In this day and age, and not to sound old timery, but it's like
get
these
your
teams,
100-year-old hat on. Go.
these there are going to be winners and there's going to be losers in this world of this NIL stuff, and
This
these guys have
this
been
is
left
the
behind.
this is
The,
the
the,
cutting edge analysis why you tune into
I
the
mean, you're
Pipeline
winners
Morning
and
Show.
losers.
There are going to be winners. There are going to be
And there's gonna be
losers.
But if
I don't
I
know where
told
you get any. I don't know where you can get any advice better than that. I mean, there's
let
going
me
to be
tell you,
winners. I don't.
tell you,
This is one and only type show.
if
I'm
I
glad you
told you
tuned in.
if I told you you had Mike Gundy as a coach,
Hmm.
you're coming off a pretty good roster from last year. I mean, I know a lot of guys left and transferred and all that, and they turned
By
40.
the way, we are
But
talking about this game about 900% more than we should, but keep going.
no, I'm just gonna say this is more of an Oklahoma State program deal,
Okay.
and you have Texas and Oklahoma, removed from your conference. You only
Mm,
have to worry about, sorry to, not discrediting these teams, but BYU,
sure.
Cincinnati, Kansas, Arizona. Big 12 is not obviously Colorado. Big 12 is not exactly powerhousing like, your
Yeah, I mean, you
SEC.
lost the two biggest programs,
Yeah.
historically significant. Yes, they
How
they
do you
did
not have
get
a
beat.
stranglehold of this conference? I mean, how do you not believe you have a stranglehold of this conference? And to be 1-6 here and
Mm,
being
almost
a
40 point dogs.
38, 40-point dog to a 6-1 Texas Tech has got to sting for Oklahoma State. However, the shirtless crowd waving guys
Mm.
again can start that Kickstarter, and
I think that might have jumped the shark already because obviously Indiana did it a couple years ago. I know they're going to do it now and it's going to be filmed, but I feel like it quickly jumped the shark, especially considering it had been done in other stadiums. I know it'll keep going. Probably won't this week because it's a road game. But yes, it is sad. I'm with you. I like when the kind of programs. I know Oklahoma State's maybe not as historically significant as a team like the aforementioned Oklahoma Sooners or Texas Longhorns, but I do like it when those teams are good. So it is sad. And like I said, it's a shame that T. Boone Pickens passed away a few years too early before he could probably assemble his own powerhouse squad and they'd be one of the top teams in the country, probably still with Mike Gundy. I always like the content guys, the character guys, the personality guys. So a little bit of a downer. But moving on, like I said, we talked about that maybe 900% more than we should have, considering it's a 40-point spread, 38.5 point, 37.5 point, whatever you got it at. Let's go to the night game. Like I said, the Ole Miss Oklahoma may be the game of the day, or this might be the game of the day. Texas A&M LSU. Texas A&M at LSU. Baton Rouge at night, always a tough place to play. LSU possibly going to drop to 2-3. Texas A&M undefeated, top 3 team in the country. Aggies only -2.5. And listen, things can get wild at LSU at night, but I think if they fall behind early, I think the crowd could. I think they could give up. I don't think this is a team that the crowd is kind of gets behind as some of those others in the past few years, especially when they were competing for a national title when it was like them and Alabama kind of going back and forth. I got a gnat around here. Sorry, but
gotcha.
LSU.
There's a whole nest in your ear.
It flew out of the salad.
Yeah.
But listen, Marcel Reed playing absolutely lights out for the Aggies. 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, almost 1,800 yards. And my guy, Torian York, I've mentioned him before, just a wrecking ball on defense for the Aggies. But this game only being 2.5, the total being not a super high total, 50.5. I don't. You got a chance. If you're LSU, you have a chance right now to salvage your season. This is the time. You have to get this done. Or maybe the heat turns up on Brian Kelly's seat. Maybe even they make a change. At this point, anything's possible. Anything's in play. I'm definitely going to get my popcorn ready for this game.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a team that's kind of been quietly disrespected all year, it's probably Texas A&M. Um,
Mm,
even at their high ranking here, they're only there by default, if you will, of everyone ahead of them just losing, not exactly them
mm,
jumping people. Um, Now, to be fair, they haven't quite had, that resume builder win with. I mean, they beat Notre Dame on the road, but at the time, Notre Dame
yep.
was also unknown, unproven. So
Yep.
at the time of the win was what I'm saying. So, however,
There's also a
winning on,
suspect holding call on their game-winning touchdown, so
yeah,
I,
and
I think that kind of went into it.
some close games. I mean, I know the Arkansas game was a bit closer at the end than it really was, but
Maybe
you
they were
still gave
looking
up.
ahead to this game. Yeah.
Yeah, gave up a ton of points to Arkansas, which is, dangerous in their own right on offense at times. Um,
Hmm.
the thing I would have to say here is this isn't obviously an elimination game for LSU. LSU loses this game, their season's pretty much done from a playoff standpoint. If you win this game, you have an
Hmm.
outside, big quotes on outside shot of at least an at-large bid. Probably
Hmm.
not going to get enough to happen above you to get into that SEC championship, but to get an at-large bid, you're still alive, if you will. If you lose the game, your your coach is on the hot seat. As crazy
Hmm.
as that sounds, I mean, he is not beloved in in Baton Rouge. I mean, they're
Right.
basically tolerating him at this point,
Yeah.
and you could start to see those cracks show a little bit, at least from me as a local fan of FSU when FSU beat him that opener a couple of years ago, and it kind of just curb stomped him in the fourth quarter.
Hmm.
Um, I saw the fans starting to grumble a bit, and then he's not exactly a likable guy. Um,
Right.
but you know, who cares about a likable guy if he wins games? I mean, some people would say Saban probably wasn't a likable guy, and then he won games. But I guess behind the scenes, Sable is a likable guy because man, is he good on television.
Right.
One of the better hidden personalities for 20 years in college football, and Nick Saban. But
Yeah.
the the important thing here for Texas A&M is you win this game, you pretty much silence all the doubters. As crazy as that
Hmm.
sounds, of it saying you're winning at a 20 ranked LSU team that's kind of struggling, but sorry, you don't win this game, people are gonna still think you're kind of a pretender type team.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. Definitely
so
pressure for the Aggies. They don't have what I mean. Obviously they have a great brand. They have Kyle Field, the 12th man, all that, but they don't have one of those kind of impervious historical teams
yeah,
where you think about Alabama. They lost to Florida State first week of the season by what, 2 touchdowns, I think,
yeah,
and they're able to bounce back. But they're able to bounce back. Yes, they've beaten a lot of top teams. I'm not saying they haven't, but they were able to bounce back faster because of their name. That's just a fact.
yes,
Again, they deserve their high ranking. They'll make the playoffs, etc., unless they come completely unglued. But teams like A&M don't have that ability. And now we're a little bit later in the season. A loss is worse than losing in week 1 to Florida State. Yes, it's a ranked team, and because Florida State's obviously worse than LSU. But to your point, you will immediately kind of be discredited. They will drop further than if Alabama lost this game.
yes,
If
yes.
Alabama
That is
came in
100% right.
undefeated and they were
Yes,
7-0 and they were 4-0 in conference, and then they lost this game, they wouldn't drop as far, even if it's the exact same score and everything, than Texas A&M will. But you mentioned LSU. This could kind of this is the fulcrum. This game is the fulcrum because listen to the rest of their schedule. This week, A&M. Next week, at Alabama, Arkansas, Western Kentucky at Oklahoma. Those top three games, A&M, Alabama, Oklahoma, that's some huge high quality wins. You could literally vault yourself right back into contention by winning those games. So Tigers, whatever you got, you better give it to everything you got this week to cut this in, because it could get ugly, right? Let's say you don't lose. Let's say you don't win any of those games. Now it's a mess. It's
Yeah,
a total
yeah,
mess. And it's the wheels have come off. Brian Kelly's probably on the hot seat, possibly fired. They might make him go up in one of those sky lifts. I don't even know. It would get bad. But
yeah,
you want to finish up? You want to go one more Big 12 game? Houston at Arizona State.
yeah. I mean, Arizona State's got their quarterback back. I mean, Arizona is the Auburn of the
This
Big
is Arizona
12.
State, not Arizona.
All right,
This is
sorry. Yeah,
Arizona State.
it's late now, guys. But I actually did have another point with Texas A&M. I wanted to go back,
Okay,
and you
sorry,
kind of threw
I
me
didn't mean
a
to leave.
curve, a cinnamon salad curveball. But um, from Texas A&M standpoint, they are the Indiana of the SEC, if you will. That they can't quite afford to lose, right? If they lose,
Yeah.
to your point, right? And one of that examples was Georgia losing, to Bama. You know,
Hmm.
a not so good at the time Bama team. Georgia didn't really plummet down the rankings, um, even though it was a close loss and they should have won. And the guy dropped the
Right.
ball. We'll go into all that, but for Texas A&M, you got to win this game, and if you do, unfortunately, you're in the same exact position next week with Missouri. So, it's like you can't escape this, like, I'm a
Yeah.
pretender game. And, it's an unfortunate side effect of not being a perennial winner per se, postseason perennial winner like
Yeah.
Texas A&M has. But it's just unfortunate that you get by LSU, and then next week we're having this exact same preview saying, "Well, you're on the road to Missouri. You don't win this one, you're a
Yeah.
pretender."
Well, I mean, we've obviously all heard the saying, fake it till you make it. It's kind of similar in that you're not a winner until you are. You know,
Yeah,
we've seen it with guys that
that's the
haven't
hard
won
hitting
10.
analysis we've got here.
That's the hard hitting
Yeah,
analysis that you're going
you're
to
the
get.
winner, you're a loser, or you're not a winner.
But I kind of mean, like, until you get that monkey off your back, until
Yeah,
there's been some success. Indiana had a taste of it last year by making the playoffs, and they kind of
mhm,
parlayed that into some success this year. A&M
mhm,
kind of needs to do the same, and they need to
yeah,
start. And I would say they need to start by not just covering the spread. I don't mean a 3-point victory. Give us a double digit victory, 10, 14 point maybe victory. And people might start believing a little bit more. Otherwise,
well,
like you said, they'll be right back into the fire next week.
the amazing thing for A&M here is there is this magical moment in time, and Florida State actually had this kind of little moment here with I know Marcel Reed is a second year quarterback.
Mhm.
Um, Essentially, Jameis was as well when he came in. He sat his first year, his first full year of starting. You could argue Marcel Reed, this is his first full year of starting. He had to share time early on last year with Connor Wigman and all
Mhm.
that stuff. So the point I'm making though is you've got a player that is going to stay put for one more year. You can also build off of this.
Mhm.
So if you're Texas A&M, you have this magical moment where you get kind of a unicorn quarterback that doesn't come around very often. And this is, year two of him in the same system. Obviously, you'll have him next year, regardless of how the season goes, unless, UCLA comes bidding. Then you've got, really something to build off of. And you can actually vault to that next level if you're Texas A&M.
Yeah, so I mentioned our conversation with college football nerds earlier, and we were talking about how going for it on third and fourth down and shrinking the game, and you don't have
Mhm,
as many possessions as you used to, especially with the way the rules are designed around the clock now.
mhm.
I think a caveat to that is it's absolutely imperative to have a developed quarterback, a quarterback that's good at decision making. You have fewer possessions. You can't afford to give them away on foolish interceptions anymore. And
Mhm.
then two, that consistency at the offensive coordinator, or at least the bare minimum, the offensive system. To your point, A&M could have that this year, use it as a springboard. Maybe they could make some noise this year. I'm not even ruling that out. But next year really could be they could be the Maryland of next year. We'll have to wait and
Oh,
see.
there it is. There it is. I mean,
let's let's zip
listen.
this up with you just mentioned Connor Wegman. Houston's quarterback, 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Houston going to Arizona State, forks up -7.5. I think I
I
like
love
Houston
Houston.
here.
I love Houston.
Yeah.
I love Houston. I like the team. I like the player. I like, they piss excellence from past coaches. This has been a good fun team to watch. I bet Houston last week, so I'll bet them again this week. They gave me a little scare last week, but that was a lot of red on the field. I don't know if you saw that.
Mm.
They were playing Arizona, who is the Auburn of the Big 12, and they just couldn't. They just finally started to separate from. They're also an underdog in that game, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Then similar setup this week. I like 'em. I like Houston, and you got the poor Arizona State fans. Having an amazing win last week at Texas A&M, and then almost getting guillotined by the field goal post coming down.
Texas
Uh,
Tech, not Texas A&M, but yes.
sorry, Texas Tech, but getting the field goal post, almost killing 5 fans. It's got to be weighing on the program a little bit heading into this game. So
Well, as I said on Twitter, I know I've mentioned it. That's because you're not following me yet. Make sure you follow on X at Pypeline_. If you can dodge a tortilla, you can dodge a field goal post. I think that's their mantra. But I like Houston here. Maybe sprinkle a little bit on the money line, but I'm definitely going Cougs +7.5. I think that's going to wrap up this episode. Again, we come at you every week, and we're going to have some guests on. I'm going to finish up this studio. I'm going to get out of the timeout corner. Maybe if I can and pull off a parlay, I can get the cinnamon salad trimmed this week, looking fresh and tight next week. So
we're never getting monetized.
we're gonna have a montage of my hair.
Yeah.
But anyway, that'll do it
Boring.
this time. We'll see you guys next time on the Python Award-winning show.